What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm freaking around in Miami Beach. Hey, guys, I'm sorry. Random question.
So very good afternoon. And what we have seen in our last session, that was all about the spatial filters, right? We have seen the linear filters, we have seen the non-linear filters, right? What linear filters we have seen? Averaging filter and weighted averaging filter, right? And in non-linear, we have seen mean, max, and median, right? Median filter is used for what? Median filter is used for what? To remove the salt and paper noise. Yeah. And we are taking a median as a main pixel into the output image, right? So it will replace your higher intensity with the median part, median pixel. Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll continue with the sharpening filters. Just a minute. With this. So next is what sharpening the spatial filters. So what is objective of this sharpening? Why we are using this sharpening? I hope I'm connected with you guys, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the main objective of sharpening? Sharpening objective is highlight the fine details to enhance the details that has been blurred. Because once we have applied smoothing, it has made our normal image as the blurred one, right? So in that, we just want to highlight the fine details, means edges, right? So to enhance that details, which is blurred, the main objective to use the sharpening is that image blurring that can be accomplished by digital averaging, blurring, right? And digital averaging is similar to the spatial integration. It is very similar to integration. Now for image sharpening, what we need to do? We have to apply the differentiation. Okay. So image sharpening can be done by digital differentiation. Digital differentiation is similar to the spatial derivative. So your smoothing is, you can say it's your spatial integration, and your sharpening, you can say it's a spatial derivation. Okay. Image differentiation enhance the edges and other discontinuities. Okay. How it is doing, that we will see. Image sharpening by the first and second order derivatives. Image sharpening by the first and second order derivatives. So how you are taking the derivatives and all, that we will see. Derivatives are defined in the terms of differences. In the terms of differences. Requirement of first derivative. This is what given in your reference book also, right? From that only I have made this. First one must be zero in flat area. So first see this figure. First see this figure. Just a minute. Uh, yes. See this one, what it is. This is what your intensity is. This is what your intensity, right? And here, this is what the scan line. Scan line is what, suppose, this is what your constant intensity. Okay, suppose 4, 4, 4, 4. All the nearby pixels are having the same constant intensity. Okay, then all of a sudden, here there would be a ramp. Okay, so here your intensity is continuously degrading from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 and all. Okay, now again there would be the constant intensity, and then you will be having step. Step means all of a sudden you are having intensity from 1 to directly 6. You can check here this values. This arrow is not coming. I'm trying since long, but just wait for a minute. I'll find the solution for this. Okay. Arrow is coming, not coming. Okay. It is not working now. Okay, fine, leave it. The arrow is not coming, but fine. Into the projector screen, we were talking about that. Okay. So here you can check values of x. Have you seen that the values of x? It was firstly constant value, that 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and so on, right? Then all of a sudden it would be decremented in the ramp. That is 5, 4, 3, 2. 1. Then again it would be the constant 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Then from 1 directly it is 6. So that is your step. So that is what they are showing you the chart. Now how you got this first derivative and second derivative? So you can check this formula. And here first we will see the requirement of first derivative, right? First one is it must be 0 in the flat area. Second, must be non-zero on the onset, or you can say start of your step or ramp. Okay, and the third one, it must be non-zero along the ramps. So we were having a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and so, right? It's non-zero values along with your ramps, right? So you can directly check this formula. Derivative of this f of x equals to f of x plus 1 minus f of x. That is what my first derivative. So what is my f of x plus 1 and what is f of x? You can check here. This is my f of x plus 1 and this is what my f of x. So 6 minus 6 means here my first derivative is 0. Right? 6 minus 6, that is my first derivative is 0. Now again you can check the same thing, right? F of x plus 1 minus f of x only. And if you want to calculate f of x minus 1, then it is f of x minus f of x minus 1. That is but obvious. Then again here you can check 6 minus 6, 0. 6 minus 6, here this is what the 0. And then this 5 minus 6 means minus 1. Then 4 minus 5 is minus 1. 3 minus 4 is minus 1. 2 minus 3 means minus 1. 1 minus 2 means again minus 1. And now 1 minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 till this. Now 6 minus 1 means 5. Right? Then 6 minus 6, 0, 0, 0 and so on. So how this first derivative came, that you guys know now. Right? Say yes or no. How we are getting this? Are you getting this? The first derivative. Right? Okay. Then we will go to this. This is what your second order derivative. Second order derivative means what you need to do? F of x plus 1 plus f of x minus 1. So next one, previous one, minus the current into 2. Okay. So this is what the formula for second order derivative. This is your next f of x plus 1. This is your previous one minus 2 into f of x. Okay. So now you can check with this. What you are having is, if I will talk about this as f of x, this 6, the second one, that is my f of x. Next 6 is my f of x plus 1. Previous one is my f of x minus 1, right? So now you just simply put this f of x plus 1, then plus f of x minus 1, so 6 plus 6, 12, minus 2 into f of x. So you will be having here, that is 0, right? That is 12 minus 12, right? No, 12 minus 12, it would be 0. Same case for here also. Now if you will check for this f of x, this is your 5 plus 6, that is 11. 11 minus 12 means minus 1. Okay. Now if this is your 5, right, that is your f of x. So 4 plus 6 means 10. 10 minus 10, because 5 into 2, so it is 0, right? So this is the way how you are calculating this. Okay. I hope you are getting how we are getting this second derivative. Right? Okay. Oh, I'm also finding the solution. Just wait for a minute. Just a minute, huh? I hope now it will work. Okay. Is it now clear in that? Okay. So requirement of second derivative, again very similar to the first one, that is must be 0 in the flat area. Same. Second one, must be non-zero at the onset, means start of your step and ramp. And the third one is the change that must be 0, not must be non-zero. It must be 0 along the ramps of constant slope. Constant slope. So you can check over here. This is what our ramp, no? So in that, along with this, you can check you are having your second derivative, that is 0, along with your ramp with the constant slope. Right? So this is what the requirement. Now if you will place this value, right, this is your this black dot field one, that is your first derivative, and square, that is your second derivative. So you can check here this value, I mean 0 and 0 in your first derivative as well as into your second derivative. So here these two values are at 0. Then you are having first derivative minus 1. So here minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, and so. And then you are having this 0, right? But your second derivative all is 0, 0, 0 according to your ramp. So they are the square, square, square here. Then here this would be 1. Yes, it would be increase in your second derivative. But here it is decreasing. So this is known as your 0 crossing, right here. Here it will become 0 crossing. I'll come on to that point. Again, you can check here at 0, 0, 0. Whenever there would be a constant value, no, the both will be, I mean 0, 0, 0. Right. So first and second, both the derivatives are 0. Okay, and after that you can check here your first derivative and second derivative, they are having this plus 5 value. So your black dot as well as this square, they both are at the same value 5. But after that, your first derivative is giving you directly 0, but your second derivative is giving minus 5. So you are crossing that 0 and you are going down. That is why it is known as zero crossing. Fine. So that is your zero crossing, and then again you are coming back to the 0, 0, 0, because again you will be having the constant value, that is 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So it will become 0, 0 only, right? But if your previous value is something else in your step, one is your one value, and then all of a sudden there is a jump of directly 6, then first derivative will do what? It will make it as a 0 only, but your second derivative will go into the negative and then it is coming back. Right? This is what our graph is saying. Fine. So this is what derivatives, how to do it. You are very good in maths. You are very good in maths, so I hope you are getting this thing at least, derivative and all. You can write down this formula and please write this also, right? If you won't draw it, no, you won't be able to write at the time of exam. So please do it, because we have very few topics. That is the remaining one, and we will be able to finish this unit by today only. So please simply write this conditions, right? And then write this formula. Fine. So it is done. Now you can write this formula. for first order derivative and second order derivative. You can write this. Done? Okay. Now they are simply explaining what we are doing in this sharpening spatial filter. At the ramp, first order derivative is non-zero along with the ramp. So first order derivative is non-zero along with the ramp, right? That's what we have simply observed from the graph. Then second derivative is zero along with the ramp. That's what we have seen, right? That is zero along with the ramp here. Then second derivative is non-zero only at the onset and end of the ramp. Non-zero only at the onset and end of the ramp means from where it is starting and from where it is ending, right? Okay. There only they are having the non-zero values. Otherwise, everywhere zero. Along with the ramp, it is zero. At the step, what is happening? Both the first and second derivatives are non-zero at the step. You can check, right? This is your step. They are some non-zero values, right? No, from 1 to 6 at the step. You can check. They are the non-zero values actually here. This one. Then second order derivative has a transition from positive to negative. That is known as zero crossing. We said no, +5 to -5. Like this. Yes. Okay. From positive to negative. That we have seen here. It was 5 first and then all of a sudden it is -5 in the very next term. This is what observation. Some conclusions. First order derivatives generally produce thicker edges. Via this observation, we can say that the first order derivatives generally produce thicker edges. Second order derivatives have stronger response to the fine details. Stronger response to the fine details. First order derivatives generally produce stronger response to gray level step. Wherever there would be a gray level step, step means this, right? From one intensity value to all of a sudden another intensity value. Sorry? Sudden increase. If it is not, see, here it is not gradual increasing. Yes, yes. Sudden. It is only saying about the sudden values. So here the first order derivatives generally produce the stronger response to the gray level step. But the second order derivative produced a double response at the step, plus 5 minus 5 at the step, right? So that is the double response at this step. This is what was the observation, how we are working on it. Though it is just for the theory, right? We are not applying this differentiation and all into the MATLAB. Okay, we are not going to use. Age. Your age is having higher intensity. We have seen that virtual lab, monkey face, and that. Do you remember that? How finely it was sharpened. That. So here, image subtraction. We have already done this thing. If you remember, we have subtracted two images, right? So image subtraction is useful for visualizing the difference between two images. One way of telling whether two images are identical is to subtract one from the another, and if the maximum sample value of the result is 0, then images are identical. How? Suppose if one of the images having intensity 16, another image is also having 16. One image, second pixel is suppose 70, another pixel also 70. So like that, if one image I'm subtracting from the another one, then if they both are identical, then everywhere I'll get 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That means black color image. It means they both the image are exactly identical. Okay, but if we are getting something in a difference, it means that you can say first image and second, they both are not identical, because we are getting some intensity difference, right? So here the same thing is happening. I'm having this IA, I'm having this IB, and when I'm subtracting, no, I'm not getting black color pixels. So it is not identical, and the difference is this, that what they are showing us. This is what the difference, IA minus IB. Okay, you can check in your phone, much better. Yes, Hasnat. Everything you remember about Katrina Kaif, huh? Okay. So example, a source image is equalized in intensity. The equalized image is subtracted from the source to highlight the area of change. What it means? Equalized in intensity. So what it means? Yeah, so that is, you can say, the histogram equalization, right? The equalized image is subtracted from the source. This is your source. This is what you're equalized, and once you are subtracting it, no, they are showing you what thing they have done, what this histogram equalization have done. Right? So this is what you are getting as a difference, right? So it will just give you the highlighted area of the change where they have changed. Simple. Wherever the intensity difference will be there, you will get something over here as an image, as a pixel, as some color. Now, unsharp masking and high boost filtering. This is what we have seen. No, unsharp. Do you remember this? Unsharp, median, and unsharp. Both we have seen in our virtual lab. Oh, you guys are not remembering this? Median and this unsharp. Do you remember? right? So here these two are again the non-linear operations, non-linear filters, you can say, right? So in the median, if you'll check, right, if somewhere I'm having the white and black dots, right, it will be removed. Better we'll take this image, right? This is what we have seen. If we are applying the median, we'll run it. You will see, you will check over here, or whatever the dots are there, they are removed. But side effect is what? It would be blurred, right? But if we are applying this unsharp, now you can check, fine details are enhanced, right? No, here the edges are sharpened. Okay, so here the picture is much clearer than even original one. I hope you remember this thing, right? So this is what we are going to discuss. Is it fine? Hello? You guys are here only, hope. Yes, okay. Fine. So now, in the unsharp masking and high boost filtering, what we are doing is, this unsharp masking, here the process of subtracting an unsharp, means smooth image from the original image, is known as a unsharp masking. If I'm having original image, I'm having my blurred image, I can subtract it, whatever I'm getting, that is what, that process is known as unsharp masking, right? Used to make the image sharpen. So that is what they use. Already been used by, the printing and the publishing industries, because they want to highlight the ages, obviously. Steps are what? First thing, blur the original image, means you are applying smoothing. Once you are applying it, subtract the blurred image from the original image. Difference is called as a mask. So here this is what I am having, that is my mask. Okay, this is my mask. Now what you will do, add this mask to the original one, right? So it would be sharpened, simple. So this is what we are doing. So how we are doing this, G of mask, G mask of this x and y equals to this f of xy minus f dash of xy. This f dash is what? Your blurred image, and this f of xy means your original image. And what you are getting, that would be sharpened image after applying this mask to your original one, right? So here I can say mask equals to, right? But at last I'll get the final sharpened image, sharp image. Okay. High boost filtering, g of xy equals to f of xy plus k into g mask of xy. If I'm keeping my value of k equals to 1, this is what I'm doing, no? I'm doing what? Whatever the mask I am simply getting, I'm adding it into my original image. This is what I'm doing. So here the value of k is not there, suppose, right? What I'm doing, original image plus my mask. So I'm getting my sharpened image, right? So here you can imagine k equals to 1. So if I'm keeping my k equals to 1, then it is known as unsharp masking. But if I'm increasing my k, right, because I want much sharpen image, so at that time I can increase the value of k. If I'm increasing it, that is known as high boost filtering, right? So this is what high boost filtering and unsharp masking. K is for? Yes, k is, you can say, the constant value. If you are keeping exactly equals to 1, then it will behave as your unsharp masking. If you are increasing it, then it is your high boost, because you are boosting it. You are boosting. Right? So this is what the example. First is your original image. Second one is your blurred image. Here you are getting this as your mask, that is G of xy. This mask you are adding to your original image. So this is what your original, plus you are adding the mask, then you can see the results. It's very sharp. So I hope this is very clear to you guys. Say yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, great, great. So this is what your original signal is, right? And this is what your blurred signal is. Blur signal means always it's a smoothened one. It's a curvy way, right? It is not the sharp like this. Okay, it's a blurred one. So there would be a smooth blending would be there. That is why it is blurred, no? Because you don't have any sharp transition, which is actually required for your edges, but you are applying smoothing. Smoothing will suppress your sharp transitions, right? So you are having a blurred signal. So what you are doing is original, this is your blurred, and when you will get the difference, this is what your unsharp mask that you are adding to your original one. So here you have sharpened these edges, right? Here, yes, it will sharpen the higher transitions, higher intensity values, not the middle area, only edges. It will just check neighborhood. Yes, neighborhood. Suppose if there is a edge, means border. After the border, all the intensity values are very similar. If suppose it is a single color value inside it, right? So edges would have a sharpened transition than the others. Always the border wouldn't be much dull. It wouldn't be dull, right? So this is what all about the third unit, and here we have finished image enhancement. Okay, next time we'll start with frequency domain. Frequency domain and their filters. Only there are three filters are main, right? Actually two, low pass and high pass, and the Butterworth. So that we will see. Okay. So your fourth unit is very small, not this much bigger one. We will be able to finish within a week. So we can even include that in your mid syllabus, but let's see. I mean, for a now, no. Okay. For a now, we are just keeping it till 3. Right? Then we'll see. That only I'm saying. I'll inform it via group. Okay. Yes, Hasnat, you have one question. Okay, by mistake. Fine. Okay, so that I'll inform you. No worries. Because we have last paper. An exam is going to start with 17, but we have already finished this third unit. And we'll be able to finish within a week the fourth one also. So let's see till what we need to keep. Right? Let us see. Okay. So any doubt, any queries? Still we have some time, right? It's just 12:40. We have more 15 minutes. So you can write the formulas, important formulas, right? You can write for the histogram also. I'll keep that. Please write it down. Okay. Yes, Sunny. I'm showing you the slide. Done? Okay. What will be the marks pattern? That I even don't know, right? Once it will be there, I'll let you know. Right? Once I'll get to know, I'll let you know. You can write this two conditions also, right? Histogram equalization. What is the requirement of your transformation function T? It should be like what? Right? Requirement of your transformation function. Note it down. You've done this, right? Have you solved this example, everybody? Which one? Okay, fine. So if you have done, great. So you can write your enrollment numbers and you may leave. Yes, yes, I'll share it. I'll share it. Don't worry. I'll upload it. We have the last paper. Chill. Everybody, please write down your number if you have not yet written. Now, Ruby, Neeraj Giri, Yograj, Mojo. If anybody still remain to write their numbers, please write it down quickly. I'm about to end the session. Yograj, Ruby, last call to write your numbers. If you haven't written it yet, please write it down.